Majority of California now expected to be back on lockdown in just days. Gavin Newsom announced a new regional stay-at-home order just yesterday. We, of course, have talked about this several times, though, but how do these Democrat policies hamstring the recovery in states like California compared to other states like Texas or Florida?
Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? I mean, if you've got your businesses locked down and you're prohibiting your workers from going back on the job, then obviously you're going to have a high unemployment rate. California has, I believe, the third or fourth highest unemployment rate in the country at about almost 10%. 10% of Californians are unemployed because the businesses are shut down. Meanwhile, you've got states like Nebraska that have a 3% unemployment rate. Even in Florida, the unemployment rate's closing into 5 or 6%. It's a large state with a lot of metropolitan areas. And yet, by the way, the death rates in Florida are lower than they are in states like New York that are shut down. So I'm not saying people should act in an irresponsible way. We all need to be very careful here. We need to be safe. We need to be smart about how we avoid contracting this terrible disease. But the idea of just shuttering an economy, that hasn't worked very well. And I really am optimistic that when you've got a vaccine that's 94% effective, the most important thing is getting that out to the people as quickly as possible.
A jobs report wasn't the only economic data that we got today. Commerce Department also reporting the October trade deficit widened less than expected, hitting $63.1 billion. Exports jumping 2.2%, but they still haven't caught up with imports. Trade is, of course, a big part of the GDP. How do you think this fares for the fourth quarter?
Fourth quarter is doing really well. I mean, really well. I just looked at the report from the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. They're predicting about 10% growth for the fourth quarter. I mean, 10% is a blockbuster number. Usually if you get 4 or 5% growth, that's really good. We could possibly, I don't think it's likely, but possibly we could actually end up this year with the worst pandemic in a century with an economy that is actually not much negative, maybe negative 2 or 3%, maybe even 0, which would be phenomenal achievement. And that sets up the momentum for 2021. My worry is that Joe Biden wants to come in and raise taxes, raise regulation, increase debt, shut down our energy sector. That could really cause a double-dip recession. So let's keep on the track that we're on. Let's get our businesses open. By the way, Greta, the businesses want to open up. I mean, I get calls and letters and emails from every day from businessmen and women around the country say, let us operate. Let us make our own decision about whether we're going to operate. Let's not put these decisions in the hands of politicians. And by the way, as Greta, you know, you've reported this, a lot of the politicians aren't living by the same rules they're imposing on the rest of us.
All right, economist Steve Moore there joining us to discuss the November jobs report and the economic recovery amid the pandemic. Thanks as always for coming on the show today, Steve.
Want to see more videos like this? Visit OANN.com for immediate access to all the clips you've been waiting to see.